This $20 million tech company was losing 18% of its margins, and everyone pretended that everything was fine. The director said things were great. The C suite didn't want to poke the bear, and the team, they were quietly drowning. 6 months later, margins were up 22%, revenue jumped 150%, and the culture transformed. Let me show you how great leaders inspire accountability even when no one wants to talk about the truth. Welcome back to the Clarity Advantage, where business owners, CEOs, and executives learn to cut through the noise and lead with intention. This story is real. A $20 million tech company losing its grip on the market, not because of competition, but because of ego silence and the complete lack of accountability. Let me paint the picture. A strong reputation in the marketplace, 30 years plus in the business as a successful communications company with loyal customers, a solid product line, and a family ownership. But behind the scenes, it was complete chaos. The owner hired a longtime industry friend as a director to lead the charge, someone with influence and relationships. On paper, it looked smart. But 18 months later, the company was completely out of alignment with its C suite. The cracks were everywhere. No systems, no mechanisms, no controls. The director and engineering team were selling work on the fly. Jobs looked profitable up front, but later bled 15 to 20% after each installation. Operational decisions were emotional, not strategic. Out of state work was done all in house, costing thousands more. And here's the real issue: the ego was running the show. The director insisted that everything was fine. The C suite didn't want to challenge him. No one wanted to poke the bear. The owners felt trapped. Firing him risked losing $5 million of business. But the biggest problem wasn't the director, it was the silence, it was the fear, it was the complete absence of accountability. When I stepped in, I didn't start with systems. I didn't start with org charts. I didn't start with financials. I started with people. Because here's the truth: great leaders inspire accountability, they don't demand it. And accountability only exists where trust exists. So I sat down with every single employee, one by one, no agenda, just listening. And what I heard was heartbreaking. What the team told me was tragic. No one had ever taken the time to meet with them and talk about what their goals were or where the company was growing. I'm doing my job, but I don't know if it matters. We don't feel heard. I'm thinking about quitting. And then the kicker: ownership avoided annual reviews because they didn't want employees asking for raises. A $20 million company avoided the most basic leadership responsibility because they were afraid of conversation. This wasn't a performance problem. This wasn't a talent problem. This was a leadership clarity problem. So here's what we did: rebuilt the reporting structure. Authority was redistributed. Decisions no longer bottleneck through one person. The C suite regained visibility and courage. We implemented a real quoting system. No more guessing. No more "we'll figure it out later." Forecasting became accurate. Margins became predictable. No more scope creep. Expanded capacity without adding headcount. We built a vetted network of local third-party contractors. This eliminated unnecessary travel costs and increased responsiveness. We strengthened the internal bench and we promoted from within. We hired new project management, project intake, scope control, customer communication. It all tightened. I created a culture where people could speak up, where leaders could be honest, where accountability wasn't a threat, it was a shared expectation. Because accountability without trust is punishment. Accountability with trust is empowerment. And then the results hit. Margins increased 22% in 6 months. Revenues grew 150%, the highest performing year in company history. The team stayed and thrived. The owners regained control. And the director's relationships were no longer a single point of failure. This wasn't luck. This was leadership clarity. Here are the 4 lessons every CEO needs to hear. Lesson 1: great leaders inspire accountability. Accountability isn't about calling people out, it's about calling people up. You inspire accountability by listening, setting expectations, creating clarity, giving direction, and showing people that you care. This company didn't need discipline, they needed leadership. Lesson 2: scale without chaos. At $20 million, they were still operating like a $5 million shop. Systems matter, forecasting matters, structure matters. Lesson 3: leadership clarity and emotional intelligence, EQ. The owners were afraid of conflict. They're afraid of losing business, and they were afraid of challenging the director. But clarity requires courage. And EQ isn't about being nice, it's about being honest. Lesson 4: modern leadership and culture. People don't quit companies, they quit confusion, they quit silence, they quit leaders who don't lead. Once we rebuilt trust, everyone else followed. So here's the truth: most companies don't fail because of competition, they fail because of misalignment, unclear leadership, and systems that never evolved. If this story sounds like your organization, margin erosion, operational chaos, leadership misalignment, you're not alone, and you don't have to guess your way through it. Join my free newsletter, The Modern Workforce Leader. Every week, I break down real scenarios like this to help you with clarity, lead with confidence, and intention. And if you're ready to take your organization to the next level, I offer a 90-day assessment to help you regain control, rebuild your systems, and realign your leadership team. If this sounds like you, reach out. Let's get your business back on track. Thanks for watching The Clarity Advantage. If you found this valuable, hit subscribe and share this with a leader who really needs to hear it. And before you go, check out my other videos on modern business leadership, organizational clarity, and scaling without chaos. They'll give you the tools to think differently, lead intentionally, and build a business that actually works. I'll see you in the next episode, because the workforce has changed and leadership must change with it.